So Doris just needed to be close to her audience to infect them. Contagion through skin. Very disturbing.
I'd head back if I were you, sir.
It's locked, all right.
Stupid! It's a leech!
London has brought so much.
When you're close to...
Support the equality between men.
Always a pleasure to see you, sir.
I must admit the Guard of Prewen impressed me. They must have spent years preparing the plan.
Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
I've been formally asked to witness your triumph, my dear. After all, isn't it the natural role of a woman to support her man in victory?
But it's you who insisted I join the Ascalon.
Please forgive my giddiness. I'm just overcome by the thrill of finally being allowed within these hallowed halls.
You certainly have an inquisitive mind. It's quite something. Elizabeth Ashbury, only you can make me smile in these difficult times.
And the same to you, Jonathan Reed. Now go have your little chat with the chairman. I can see he's practically bursting to hear your report. We'll talk later.
Rumors say 2 cases of infection have been reported in Buckingham Palace. Good thing the king is not there.
I personally went patrolling last night in the West End, and I spotted at least 2 foreign...
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
This
Have a
is
drink
an
and enjoy
outrage.
this night for a
We shall chase these intruders down.
Welcome back to the Ascalon Club, Lance-Bearer. Please, tell us the good news. Have you put an end to the epidemic?
My hypothesis was correct. Doris Fletcher was the source of the contagion in this part of town. She was probably the first to be infected.
And you cleansed her before the hunters, I've been told. Well done, Dr. Reed. You thrust your lance and pierced the very heart of the corruption.
But some questions remain.
The important thing is, we won a major battle for the survival of London. For that, we salute you.
Thank you, my lord.
Now, I have another task for you. One of the utmost importance. Perhaps even more so than the previous.
I'm listening.
It's time for you to perform a most sacred duty for the club. I want you to recruit a new vampire.
Recruit a new vampire? Are you sending me on some sort of diplomatic mission?
Not exactly. I want you to make Aloysius Dawson the Ekon he deserves to be.
I'm not sure I'm the best candidate for such a task.
I can hear the hesitation in your voice, Dr. Reed. I admire a man of principles. But in this matter, there is more at stake than your moral comfort.
It's not a moral question, Lord Redgrave. It's the responsibility of giving immortality to a man I barely know.
Nonsense. Aloysius has been a member of the Ascalon for years. This is but the fruition of a long-held plan.
How would you like me to proceed?
Aloysius is waiting for you at the Dawson estate. Once the deed is done, I'll join you there to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Before I go, I have a few questions.
All right, I'm listening.
Why Aloysius Dawson?
Because he is about to die. And he just may be the most influential man in England. After me, of course.
Did he choose me?
No, I did. My decision is very recent, to say the least, but it is entirely mine.
Does he know I'm coming?
He can't wait to become your progeny, Dr. Reed. Especially now that you have shown how strong your lineage is through your sister.
How would you like me to proceed?
Don't worry. Aloysius has had many years to prepare himself. He has studied our kind for decades.
So shall I just let him drink my blood?
Yes. Aloysius will gratefully sup on your blood. His heart will slow, then stop. But he will rise again as one of us, an immortal.
Is there any danger?
Our blood alters a mortal body so deeply that some don't survive the metamorphosis. They die for good. But Mr. Dawson has been preparing himself for a long time.
You invited Lady Ashbury. Wouldn't that be breaking one of your cardinal rules? No women allowed.
Not allowed as members, no. But considering the circumstances, I thought you'd like to have her here to witness your triumph.
So it's a temporary admittance, then?
Something of a bargain, considering the crisis we're currently facing.
Goodbye. Why?
Because he...
Did he?
No.
Does he?
He...
I would...
No.
It...
Oh.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Have you heard the rumors of some horned vampire revealing himself and singing songs around the city.
Are you all right, Jonathan?
Lord Redgrave has just ordered me to turn Aloysius Dawson, to make him my progeny.
I see. And how do you feel about this?
I'd like your advice on the matter.
The real question here is, why has his lordship given you this task?
Do you think it's some sort of trap?
Do you really want to know what I think about this?
I do, yes.
To make an immortal of a soulless blackguard like Aloysius Dawson will only lead to a disaster for London. The man is already dead inside.
Should I refuse? Perhaps politely suggest that Lord Redgrave turn the man into a vampire himself.
Don't you dare, my dear. According to what I've recently discovered, his lordship could kill you for even broaching the subject.
Really? Why?
I've recently found proof that the Earl of Bristol is of lesser lineage and only capable of creating skulls.
Please tell me more about your recent investigation.
As long as you lower your voice.
What would happen if I made Dawson an Ekon like myself?
You would add a powerful immortal into a suffering world. An immortal who already craves authority.
Maybe I could teach him control, like you taught me. Lead him down the right path.
Mr. Dawson spent his life searching for a way to cheat death. I'm sure he has spent decades dreaming of how he'd spend eternity as a tyrant.
What would you have me do about Dawson?
The man is dangerous. Did you know he plans to build a wall to separate the healthy rich from the sickly poor? Do not make him your progeny.
What would you do?
The man's dying already. Let the reaper harvest the rotten fruit that is his soul.
Are you sure your information about Redgrave is correct? He says he's the progeny of the great knight William Marshall, who lived some 9 centuries ago.
That's a lie. Lord Redgrave is unable to create anything but skulls, if the poor souls survive at all.
How can you be sure the information was correct?
I made the acquaintance of a most interesting informer while investigating your maker, from whom I learned the truth about Lord Redgrave.
Why so vindictive? You suddenly sound like you're angry.
Forgive me, Jonathan. I hate myself for it, but I feel such pride in my discovery. I'm afraid I just can't help it.
Which is?
He did serve William Marshall. And yes, the blood he covets as a token does truly belong to that legendary knight. But he was never his progeny. His lineage is not so noble.
Goodbye for now.
Goodbye, my dear. Please.
It looks like vampires have to obey Mendel's laws when producing progeny.
Only the first
Powers pass from one generation to another.
Support
That's
the
why
equality
Dawson
between
wants
men
me
and
to sign
women.
him. Good evening.
And good...
What do you know about Aloy?
That man is a tyrant. The embodiment of greed and selfishness. All I despise about this country.
Goodbye.
She's been...
this city anymore.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Do you know any?
Well, I've never met the man personally, but I invested money in some of his companies when I came to London. A brilliant businessman.
Goodbye.
This is not a play. Easy does it, boys. I'll send you to hell. Vicious bugger! Killing's all you can do. I'll send you to hell. Die, I'm sending you back in the fucking grave! He's dead! Get them weapons ready! We found one! Filthy beast! There's one of them vermin! Die, vermin!
I have this thirst for blood. I cannot enter. It's locked, all right. It's locked. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like...
Wise choice.
What news, Jonathan? I've heard you've now joined the vampire elite of London.
Did Elizabeth tell you?
So it's Elizabeth now. My. Things are moving quickly. I turn my back for a moment and away you go.
Have you seen Lady Ashbury recently?
Yes, she popped in yesterday. Told me about your new friends in the West End.
Just a courtesy visit, then?
Yes. And no. She was en route to the docks, I think, following a lead concerning your maker.
I may have found the source of the contagion. Doris Fletcher, the actress. Thankfully, in the end, she was destroyed by fire.
Really? Oh, please, do tell me more.
Doris was a heavily mutated skull, almost a new breed entirely. It's as if the disease had completely altered her mind and body. Highly contagious.
As if the disease had taken control of her will?
Yes. Once a beautiful and brilliant woman, she became motivated by hate alone.
Oh, she was a beauty. I met her when she visited the hospital to cheer up the sick. Too bad the fire destroyed her. But it was probably for the best.
Have you heard of similar cases?
No, I don't think so. Except, perhaps, it reminds me of an old report from the Brotherhood. Well, more an article, really.
What was it about?
The author, a friar, referred to a rare form of contagion in a skull he observed during the Black Death. The carrier was always female. They called them Icors.
How's the situation?
We're still holding out. Question is, for how long? What we really need is hope, Jonathan. Hope for a better tomorrow.
I'll come back later. Thank you, Edgar.
Always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
Good evening.
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Goodbye. Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you then.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
I have to go now, sir.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Oh, sweet girl. Must be like a book.
See them fancy clothes? This one's a top!
In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust. It's locked, all right. This is despicable.
Circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. Good evening, Doctor.
You realize your son could try to kill himself again. He might succeed next time.
I think about it every minute. But I won't stop fighting for my son's future. That's how much I love him.
Your determination is laudable, but you are in a state of denial, Mrs. Goswick. Your son has a very strong death wish.
How dare you talk to a mother like that? Talk to me like that?
I'm only trying to be honest, Mrs. Goswick. As painful as this fatal end may be for you, you have to accept this is a possibility.
No, I'll never accept it. If my son was to die under your care, well, you have no idea what I'm capable of, Dr. Reed.
Mortimer is extremely vague as to his motivations for committing suicide. Tell me more about what you know.
As you say, Mortimer had no reason to die. All he said to me was that he wanted to make the world a better place, but couldn't.
What do you think he meant by making the...
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul. He wouldn't talk to anyone for months after his father passed. It's like he carries everyone's sadness with him.
Why did your son feel so useless when facing the world?
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy facets of life. He couldn't help but dwell on such things.
I have read your son's suicide note. It was not an impulsive gesture, nor was it his first attempt.
He threatened to kill himself a few times before. But I never thought he would dare to punish me this much.
Punish you? Why?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his life. But I always hoped he cared enough to avoid making me suffer like this.
Goodbye.
Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair, while the world crumbles around you. Tell me more about it.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
The world is bleak, but maybe the pain we feel is the best compass for making it a better place.
How can we repair the world, Dr. Reed, when mankind is the biggest problem? Yes, the world will be a much better place when we're gone. There's nothing.
The world.
How can...
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick. I can assure you that nobody read it but me.
Thank you. This is for you, then. For your help. And for your silence.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good for both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I'll think about it. Now please, let me be.
I have to go.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening.
Goodbye.
Literally like a book. I never could.
Summer's epidemic was difficult.
Good evening, Doctor. Goodbye.
See them fancy clothes? This one got off! Christ, he's dead! What the...
Good evening, Christy.
Shane.
Goodbye.
Good evening.
Goodbye. Good evening.
It's fun.
Don't you fear?
I've been...
Tell me the reason why you despise Joseph Larrabee so much, Tobias.
A faithless shepherd is the worst criminal, for he leads his flock to the abyss by disregarding the right path. God smote this man, for he doubted.
I only met him briefly, but he seemed a dedicated man who tried to provide guidance.
Do you not believe in punishment, my son? I am not talking about the law of men. I am talking about judgment from heaven.
I believe in the logical and factual organization of everything in the universe. God, if he exists, is just a principle waiting to be discovered.
Armageddon is upon us, Dr. Reed. The final battle where every soul will be weighed. I'm afraid yours will burn for a long time.
I have had...
You again?
Good.
Take a look. Don't be afraid.
Fancy you never... Right then.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith.
Good evening.
again.
A gun?
Its effectiveness has been proven. Goody.
I'd like to...
Fuck, it's fast! Get a taste of this! Put an end to you! Please, sir. Can't let you through. Go back home, idiot! He's back! One of them! You'll pay for this, you ugly fucker! I'll tell you! You'll pay for this, you ugly fucker! It's a leech! Kill it!